Hello and welcome to tonight's show.
And hello and welcome to episode 217 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale models. And this episode is being brought to you by our latest Patreon supporter, Matthew Payne. You too can help support the show just like Matthew. Simply go to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from as little as $1 per week. Your support is greatly appreciated and just helps us out with our production and hosting costs. And don't forget, every paid Patreon supporter gets an OTB sticker and goes into the Patreon Wheel of Fortune for some fantastic prizes. Got a wonderful show lined up for you today, but before we get there, let's have a word from our wonderful sponsor, Scale Model Supply.
Are you looking for top quality paints for your next project? Then look no further than the Scale Modeler Supply, Australia's hobby paint. Hi, I'm Scott, and as a passionate modeler myself, I've spent years creating the SMS product range, designing them specifically with the Scale Modeler in mind. We have worked extensively to develop our acrylic lacquer paint range to not only be airbrush ready straight out of the bottle, but also to be easy to use so that anyone of any skill level can create professional results with minimal effort. Just give the bottle a good shake, pour into your airbrush and spray at 15 psi. So dive into your next project with confidence, knowing that you're backed by one of the finest hobby paints on the market. Head over to our website at scalemodeler.com.au to check out our full range and to find your closest retailer.
And hello and welcome to the show. And in the studio, I've got Ian.
G'day everyone.
I've got Julian.
Good morning.
And special guest today, we have Christina, a.k.a. Winzfactor, a.k.a. Mars. Is that right?
How's it going?
You got so many titles, Marissa. I don't know
So
what
many titles because people keep forgetting my real name.
Like you just did.
I said Marissa.
No, you started with
You
Christina.
start with Christina.
Did I say Christina?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're disgraceful.
No, look, he's just not very good at English.
No. Yeah, just. It's his second language.
Yeah, well, what's your first language, Dave?
Yeah.
Bad English.
Okay.
Bad English.
So, how we been? What have you been doing since last fortnight? I'll start with you, Ian.
Not a great deal, unfortunately.
okay.
It's a normal story for me.
Yeah.
Did put some money down and did the pre-order for the new Edward Jewel Royal Boxing of the P40N.
Oh, very good.
So when that comes in, just got to wait for that to come in.
Excellent.
It's not cheap though.
What do you mean just wait for that to come in? It's not like you're going to start it when it comes in.
No, it's going to go on the pile with the rest of them.
What about you, Julian?
I'm working on 3 things at the moment.
3.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm working on Lincoln's thing.
Oh, you're doing his virtual show,
His,
yeah?
His it's competition.
Competition,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's I bought the Lunar Diver.
Yep.
And that's got a lot of. It hasn't got a lot of putty in it,
Yeah.
but every night I glue 2 pieces together, and then putty another,
Right.
and then I glue those onto the main thing, and it's just seam lines after seam lines after seam lines. It's just endless.
You know you're being a real modeler.
No,
Yeah.
What are the other
it's
two?
got more seam lines than a plane, like double.
Oh, jeez. Any other 2 things you're building?
Marissa's group build, the bug build.
Ah.
Yeah, so I'm building a VW Beetle for that.
Yep.
And then I've got the not Musaru, the
Interclub
build,
Yeah.
which is a Nissan Skyline thing.
Speaking of Musaru, that will be announced in August. So
Oh right,
it'll
yeah, I
be
don't have to worry about
it'll
that.
be me this year.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank God it's not me.
I'll laugh if it's a car. I'll laugh so hard.
I'm always nervous when.
Well, when it comes around to you,
Yeah, because I don't know what. Because I've had a Gundam, which was one,
Yes.
I had a great time building that.
and
I can't think of the other one I built.
you've done at least another one, haven't you?
Yeah, I know. I can't remember what one it is.
We can't remember.
Anyway.
Well, anyway.
Marissa, what have you been doing since we last spoke to you?
Well,
All
which
those
was
many
one
moons
scale
ago.
scale like last year.
Yes.
Well, that's right. Well, actually, no. We caught up just recently in at
On
a
Model
Melbourne.
Expo.
Yeah. What have you been doing since?
Oh,
What's on your bench? How's that? We'll start with that.
on my bench is, I was going to say nothing, but it's not true because there is something. I'm building my own personal project, which is my very first kit bash Gundam.
Right.
It'd be like a samurai themed Gundam with a temple diorama. So I finished a quarter of the project, which is the temple and the rock face and the cliffs. So I have the inner frame of the Gundam ready to paint today if I feel like it. But I haven't been doing as much modeling as I wanted over the past few weeks or so because there's just been so much personal stuff happening. My car got rear-ended. No. This is the best part. My car got rear-ended.
How can it be the best part?
No, 5 minutes after I picked it up from service.
Ouch.
I picked it up, drove it around the corner. Then someone, I think he was on his phone, just went bang.
Oh.
And I drove it back to the mechanic, and he just couldn't. He's like, I just worked on that car.
Oh, no.
Well, at least you're all right. That's the main thing.
yes.
Yeah, and his car's not all right. I think his car is completely wrecked. My car, the bumper is smashed, and all the sensors are gone.
Yeah.
The boot floor is buckled, because I think he was actually driving pretty fast too. But thankfully, it's off for repairs now. I should have it in a couple of weeks.
Good.
But it was I was not happy.
No, I wouldn't be either.
I think if this happened 7 months after the service, I would be a bit less salty.
Yeah.
I didn't even have it 10 minutes and it got hit.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? No modeling for me. I will just indulge in my personal sin, that is video games and food.
Well, why
so
not?
that's what I've been doing
Good
over the
idea.
past 2 days. But I'm hoping to start painting today after the show.
Cool.
So.
Cool. I haven't been building a lot either, I must say, because this new dog that we've got, I'm finding it difficult to sneak away into my build room because he just scratches at the door, wants to come in, and if I let him in, I caught him the other day, got in accidentally, and went racing out with a kit in his mouth. It's still in the box, hadn't been built yet, but went tearing off. So I have to have a better way of sort of securing it so I can get in there and build without him sort of coming in and chewing everything up.
Well, you could also get everything off the floor.
Well, I could, yes. My build room's a bit of a mess. So
Just spray some dog repellent around your door.
No. It's all right. I'll figure. He's got to learn that it's sort of Dave time when I go into the room. So yeah,
Dave,
Don't see that.
But I
Don't see that happening.
but I have bought some stuff. I bought some kits. I got what did I buy? I bought some
I don't know.
I don't know what
I
you bought, Dave.
I showed you, Julian. What was it I bought? I can't remember what it was.
No, I don't. I can't remember.
Can't be that
I've
important.
got a memory of a goldfish. You can't ask me these questions.
It was
Was it a rocket?
no
Was it an
Mecca.
aeropl-
Mecca.
Oh, you mean the...
Mecca.
No, it was a...
Oh, the Ammonite.
Ammo Nights, yes, that's right. After the last show, a guy from a modelling company or a hobby store called Blue Tongue Models got in touch with me and said that he had some of these Ammo Nights. Did I want one? So I said, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So pulled the trigger on that, and that arrived rickety tick.
Lovely.
And I'm sure I bought something else, but I can't think what. Oh, I've got some decals made. I went to this company in India, and I needed some decals for a rocket, and I sent them the diagrams of what I want, and they priced it up and printed it and sent me a proof copy. So I've ordered that. So that should be on its way. So I'm interested to see how that turns out.
So which rocket's that for?
I can't remember. I've got so many on the bench.
So why'd you have to get decals for it? It didn't come with
Oh,
decals? or
it
they
did.
were garbage?
I wasn't necessarily happy with the decals that it came with, and I just wanted to punch them up a bit. So that reminds me, Julian, you've got some
That's
stuff
true.
of mine.
You just
Yeah.
reminded me.
So I thought I'd give this company a try and just see, because there's always projects down the track where you can't get decals for something, and so I thought this is a good excuse to try these guys out and see how they
It'd be a good idea to do a. Would it be too hard to paint these?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Some of them are a bit too complicated to paint. So I think it cost me about $25 to get these plus postage. So
that's pretty reasonable.
Not too bad.
Well,
yeah.
considering that it's like a single run.
And that's exactly. That's the design of it as well, and all that sort of stuff. So
that's cheaper than most decals you can buy off the shelf.
Yeah. So maybe it was $40 US. I can't remember. Is it 20 or 20? It's either 25
US.
or 40
it was
US.
In US. Okay, yeah.
But see, US. I mean that hurts you because it's
yeah, it gets pricey.
So that's about it really. So yeah.
Okay.
But we do have some mailers come in, and there's some bouquets and some brickbats amongst that mail. So
Okay.
shall we dive in and have a look?
Yes. Listen to mail.
The first one comes in from Ryan
Hothersell.
Thank you. And he just writes, listening to all your stories about airbrush woes, I'll stick to my trusty single action Pash H series.
Old school. Let's go old school.
He's certainly doing it old school.
Yeah.
How are all the Pash airbrushes old?
There'd be new Pashes out there, but
Yeah.
some of those old
I
Pash
do
brushes,
remember who was
had
it?
a good reputation.
Bill in our club brought his in, and the needle in the airbrush was like, it looked like a 9-inch nail is what it looked like. It was like 5 mil wide.
All right, the next one comes in from, looks like two people. I'm sure it's not two, but it's either Justin or Jody Law, one or the other, or both of them. Hi guys, long time listener, love the show. Would love some tips on gloss coating my models. I mainly build 35th Armour and 48 scale aircraft. I always like to clear coat the model before decals and weathering, but can never get a perfect finish. I use the Iwata HPC 0.3 airbrush with a moisture trap. I have tried SMS Clear, Tamiya, both the acrylic and the lacquer, Guns GX, all to no avail. The finish always feels rough. I have tried different thinner ratios and air pressure settings. My only saviour is when I use semi-gloss matte from VMS, that things come back to normal. I'd love some feedback from you guys as to any advice would be much appreciated. That's from Justin. Who wants to take that one first? Oh, Mars, you're
Go for it, Mars.
I'll take that because this is such a big issue. Sorry, in the Gundam community as well. Because in the Gundam community, a lot of people like to gloss finish their kits because mecha is shiny. I'm actually the reverse. I really like matte finishing my kits, but because I'm a psycho, I usually do 3 finishes, so gloss, semi-gloss, and matte in the same build because I don't hate myself enough. So, I think I know what the problem is, and if you're listening to this, Justin, Jody, can write back. So, first of all, I'm not sure what paint you're using underneath the gloss coat. If you're using something like Vallejo Model Air or any acrylic paints, SMS Clear and the lacquer stuff can react to it and make it feel really rough. That's what people mostly forget, that the acrylics can mix with the lacquers and it can bubble and be really rough.
Chemical reaction.
Because the lacquer eats the acrylic.
Yeah.
But what I found with great success in Gunpla and teaching people how to do it, because I recently finished an all gloss candy, red Sananju, etc. And it's to do a very light coat of the gloss coat first. Now the very first sort of just a mist spray of the gloss coat gives you time to check if it reacts with the surface of the paint. So you haven't gone ham yet in doing a very, very wet coat. Because sometimes when you do wet coat, you don't realize until it's cured that it reacted with the surface underneath. So next time you do your gloss, I've used all of those types of gloss that you mentioned, SMS, Tamiya, and Zerg. I use Zerg scale model pens currently, but I've also used Gunsei GX. I've also used the UV cut, which is probably one of my favorites for candy, because the UV cut is a little bit, just a very slight yellow in the gloss, but it works really well on Gundam. Do a light mist spray first, and then it will, because you're only doing a light mist spray with the gloss, it will land sort of matte and or semi-gloss on your models initially, but that's okay. Once you check if there's no reaction, then you do another mist spray, and then slowly you open your airbrush and then do a fat wet coat.
So what that's doing, in my opinion, then is you're putting like a protective layer by doing a mist coat.
Yeah, just do a mist coat.
Also puts a protective layer, so when your heavier coats go on, it's got less chance of it biting through to the original acrylic paint.
Yes, because sometimes when the gloss coat lands rough, most of the time it's because it's reacting to the paint surface underneath.
Yeah.
However, there is also, if you thin out the gloss coat too much, then the paint evaporates before it can actually touch the model, so it creates specks.
Yes.
So that can happen as well. So I'm not sure what the distance is between your airbrush and your model. My distance between my airbrush and model is probably like around, I don't know, what's this? This
5
is like
centimeters, maybe 6 centimeters.
6 centimeters, yeah. The moisture trap is great. I also use a MAC valve though. I'm not sure if it's something you want to look at. It's probably not needed if you've been modeling for a long time. I use it because of the work I do. I kind of need to be a little bit more precise. It's always great anyway, so you don't have any overspray. But try having a mist coat first, then do a wet coat and see if it helps. If it doesn't help, then it could probably be the paint that the top coat is resting on top of. If you are using... It's a bit weird, isn't it? Because to me, acrylics, the little jars, sometimes like they say it's acrylics, but it's lacquer. But then, like there's some people who... because, if you look at SMS, it says acrylic lacquer. And it's basically 90% lacquer. But then people think, oh, it's acrylics and it's the same thing. And people don't understand that it can actually interact because sometimes the labeling is just not quite clear on some paints. So make sure you do that mist coat as well and check if it reacts first. And then the wet coat just slowly on top of it. You will know when you get the nice gloss because as you do the wet coat over the mist coat will become shinier and shinier and shinier as you put the gloss on. So you'll know as you build up the layer that you've got a nice gloss finish. And then just let that cure. Make sure you cure it properly. Dry does not mean cured. A lot of people seem to forget that, oh, it's dry. So I can now do candy.
You got to let it gas off.
Yeah. Julian, your gloss finishes on cars are a really big component of it. What's your approach to it?
Look, from what they've said in this email, if they're mainly building 35th scale armor and 48th scale aircraft, they're coming from the military side of things, right? Which those people who come from that side of things, they usually have trouble when it comes to gloss clear because they're used to limiting the amount of paint that they're putting down. They're not used to really opening up their airbrush and saturating the model, right? Which is what a gloss coat demands. That was something I sort of struggled with initially when I started doing gloss coats, because I'm not like you where I bloody gloss coat before and after every step of the process.
What's wrong with it?
No, I'm not saying whatever works for you.
I like protecting my finishes.
Yeah, but most people on the armor side of things, on the military side of things, they're not really used to laying down a big saturating sort of coat. It should look like water, It should look completely like reflective at that point. And then obviously as it dries, it's probably going to lose a little bit of that.
So what
Just pull back on that trigger, is I would say. You might want to, if that's indeed like what's going on, just make sure you really sort of drench that model with.
But keep the airbrush moving at the same time.
Yeah, of course.
Holding one spot.
But
what gloss do you use?
I use the Guns, the GSI Krios Super Clear 3 type stuff. What's it? The GX series. Yeah.
GX series.
Yeah.
My 2 cents worth is to
the other thing that gives it away is the 0.3 airbrush because.
Yeah, it could be a bit too fine for what he wants you.
It's not like you can't do it. It can do the job, but most people who buy those airbrush, they're like, okay, this is my first airbrush. I'm going to go for the 0.3 because it's the middle of the road. It's what everyone gets, right? Yeah. But yeah, most people are usually used to like trying to limit it so they can do their military style camouflage schemes and stuff like that. They're not used to really like letting it open, you know. That would be my guess. That, or if they're using Tamiya, acrylics, they can, especially if you use their own, XFO1 or whatever it's called, the thinner that Tamiya sell for it. It can really lay down a little like sandpapery finish. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that can really disrupt a gloss coat if you're not used to dealing with it.
What I would recommend that Justin does is to get a paint mule.
Yeah, paint mule.
Spray some paint on it, and then just practice with the gloss. So first one is as Marissa said, is just a misting, just a quick mist.
First few coats.
Just mist it on.
What I found when I was back in a youngster working in car restorations was when they did the gloss coats, it was like and every time we did another coat on top of that, it was a little bit heavier. Yeah. So, and it wasn't like mist coat, then dump a whole heap of paint on.
Yeah.
No, because that will eat through the mist coat and react. You've got to gently, probably maybe 4 coats max. But each one gets slightly, and the final coat, well, that's when you really jam it. Well, as they used to say,
that's
jam
if you're looking for a very high gloss finish. Yeah.
And even then, you might end up having to do a little bit of as Julian does. You polish it afterwards.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with going back and giving it a rub, but it's after it's cured. You got to make sure it's cured. As Marissa
let it
said,
sit for a week.
I will say, like the only way you've got a sign that you've put too much paint on, too much clear on, is if it starts getting runs. Yeah. But if you're not getting runs, then you're still well within.
Or orange peel.
Yeah,
orange peel. Yeah. And as you'll see when you put that heavy coat on, you'll go, oh wow, that is really, really heavy. That's just filled up all my panel lines and everything. Yeah. But once it gasses off and it settles, looks amazing.
And come back and let's come back and rule out some of the issues. So if you're using, let's say, Tamiya products, use Tamiya with Tamiya. Don't mix it up just to start with. If you're using SMS, use SMS with SMS. So the SMS recommended gloss with SMS paints. If you're
SMS gloss is bites.
Yeah,
that's a very bitey paint.
But it's gloss, but it's biting into its own paint. So the manufacturer.
I've had a few problems myself, which is my own doing. Using SMS. No despairing on the company because it's brilliant paint.
But what I'm saying is stick with like for like to start with until you've got your technique down pat. And then after you've done that, doing all this on mules, and then go and if you want to experiment with a different brand of gloss on top of a different type of paint, but understanding that may present some issues as well.
I only got one more thing to say, and that is maybe look at either the leveling thinner or using a retarder with your paint because lengthening the drying time.
Leveling thinner. That's just that's the bee's knees.
Yeah,
well, Justin, I hope that helps sort you out and put you on a path. Yeah. But again, do it on a mule. Just go and buy a cheap $20 kit, paint it up, and just practice on that.
Or a kit you've given up on.
A kit you've given up on. Hope to hear back from you. Right, the next one comes from our good mate Stuart.
From Black Hat.
Black Hat YouTube channel. Models. Yes. Dear Podfather, Uncle, and Nephew. Wow, this is beginning to sound like the Addams Family.
Yeah, I'm not bald enough to be first time.
Hey guys, I've just finished listening to your last podcast. Great episode once again. Exciting to hear Chris Miller on and talking about QMHE in August. This year promises to be as big as ever, which is why I'm writing to you this week. If your listeners missed it on the previous episode, demonstrations are back again at QMHE this year. I'm teaming up with two great modelers, Ben Flood, one of Australia's most talented figure painters, and Chris Becker from Becker's Models, a well-respected and award-winning aircraft modeler, and myself, a lowly YouTube influencer. We will be conducting a series of demonstrations across the weekend. Stuart is also making himself. I'm going to also make myself available for one-on-one quick sessions if you'd like to grab a seat and ask me about techniques, products, my thoughts on why armour modelers have better skills than car modelers. That one's for you, Julian. And I'll even be brave enough to say that Chris and Ben will be available to do the same. Well, in fact, Ben did that last show, if you remember.
Yep.
He's had a booth where he sat down and had one-on-one with people. So if you're in Brisbane on August the 16th and 17th, come by QMHE at Ipswich Showgrounds and get some free time with 3 model makers who want to share our skills and talk modelling with you all. Okay, lads, see you again soon from your favourite YouTuber, Stuart at Black Hat Scale Models.
Looking so forward to that.
Oh, it's going to be a great weekend.
He's such a great guy too.
Great weekend. And while we're on that, so let's just plug that again. So QMHE, which is the Queensland Model Hobbies Expo, is on the 16th and 17th of August this year at the Ipswich Events Centre, Ipswich Showgrounds, 81 Warwick Road, Ipswich, Queensland.
That's Warwick spelt WARWICK.
There you go. So come along and join in the fun. If you've never entered a competition before and you live up that way, we strongly encourage you to come along and dip your toe into the water. Ian and I will be up there, so come along and say good day to us.
And the great thing also about the guys up there is they really make you feel welcome.
Oh, they do,
regardless
absolutely.
who you are, everyone there is willing to have a chat to you, introduce you. It's just, it's a great event.
We were talking at breakfast, Marissa, remember, and I was saying that this particular show, it's amazing how many families you get coming through with kids, and you see them,
Dad, the kids.
Yeah, and you see them all walking out with a model under their shoulder, or under their arms, I should say. It's a real, seems to get a real family vibe, and a lot of young people going there. So really super encourage you to get along there if you live up that way.
They really do a great job promoting the hobby.
Yeah. And I think that rough crowd is coming down from the north as well.
Oh, awesome. They're a great bunch of guys as well. The guys from Rocky.
Yeah, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Awesome. We've got to get up there one day, Dave.
Oh, it's
go
a long
to their
way
show.
To go, man.
Still.
Yeah, we do.
What we do, go up there and then take a slip up to Cairns.
Up to Cairns. See, that's now you're talking.
See?
Now you're talking.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about.
All right, thanks for that, Stuart. And again, we thoroughly recommend you go out and check out Stuart's YouTube channel, which is Black Hat Scale Models. Yeah. He's doing
loving his latest build, the 1/16 scale.
Yeah.
What is it?
M113.
That's the one.
Yeah, APC.
Yes.
He's really pouring his heart and soul into this and doing a great job.
He's doing one with the Sladen turret.
He's doing 2.
Yeah, one with the Sladen turret. Yes.
Yep. So I'm hanging out for the next episode to drop.
I'm looking forward to seeing this one, the Sladen turret. That just looks so cool.
Rightio. Last one comes from
Brendan W.
Brendan W. G'day, benches. I've got a bone. I'll put my teeth back in. I've got a bone to pick with you, Podfather. In the last episode, you threw shade at Julian for being a narrow builder. Pot, meat, kettle. You proudly refused to build cars, while Julian at least had a crack at all the general topics. For that, I'm crossing my fingers that this year's Mooseroos Cup ends up being a car.
We all do, mate. We all do.
So you can finally discover your true calling. In other news, the Rocky crew, we were just talking about them.
Talking about the Rocky boys.
The Rocky crew is locked in for your QMHE. We've stepped it up this year and booked the Airbnb and hired a 12-seater van to fit all the extra attendees and our purchases on the return trip. Should be a much comfier time on the road this time around.
This could be the last QMHE ever.
Awesome to hear that Ben Flood and others will be doing demos. Really looking forward to that. It's something I felt was missing, and when hearing about the US shows, even more locally, ScaleACT, so I'm hoping it's a big success. Maybe the Podfather can treat us to a shiny paint card demo after he unlocks his inner car guy. Bench hard, Brendan. Well, Brendan, let me just reply, seeing I've got the microphone, with a few home truths here.
You build real space.
Julian is not the all-round that you may think he is.
What do you mean?
You have yet to build a real space subject.
A real space? Why would I build a real space subject?
Well,
it's no different. It's no different. Like technically speaking, it's no different to a sci-fi subject.
It is.
How is it
completely different to a sci-fi
Why?
subject?
It's still matte coats and fuselages and pipes and things.
It's metallics.
I don't spray metallics in cars. Come on.
I'm just saying you haven't done a real space subject yet.
I could do that. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you what.
What?
I'll build one when you build a car.
No.
There we go, isn't it? Yeah,
And I'm telling you why I'm not building a car. I drive a car every day. I don't want to model something I'm sitting in every day.
Yeah, but what about building like your dream car?
What dream car?
That's right.
He doesn't have a dream
Doesn't
car.
have a dream car.
Hey, I'm a Gundam specialist and I've built 2 cars.
Yeah.
I'm not you as well. Who invited you on the show?
Yeah, well, you did, Dave.
Oh, yeah, I did too.
Well, I got to say, I think that's probably the only genre I haven't built is real space.
You know,
There you go.
you know what? Dave actually dodges.
I may have to build one then.
Yeah.
You know, Dave dodges a lot of the genres he doesn't like very, very deftly.
Like what?
Like when we did the Space Marine, like his idea of doing figures is avoiding touching a paintbrush.
Yeah, yes, I noticed
He
that.
only used an airbrush.
And the problem with that was?
And he didn't even have a face. It was in a helmet.
He just chromed the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's sitting there in the cabinet
And then put
in the
some
other room.
Gucci decals on it.
But the way I did that chrome was top notch.
Yeah.
It was okay.
You can't just put chrome in your airbrush and paint it.
You're talking to me about chrome.
You
are
can't. Yes, you can't just spray and pray. It's got to be done with deft technique, love, care, and consideration.
I know he's. I know he's laying it on thick.
Oh my!
But the whole point of us doing those 3 space marines. Because Marissa, what we did is we each bought like a space marine. We bought a box
that
it had 3 in it, and we each did one, and we all did ours differently. And yeah, the idea was to get him to do something that he doesn't normally do, and he circumvented it by only airbrushing it.
So phoned it in.
But I do.
What, phone it in?
I do.
You do.
No. Don't be verbalising me. Verbling me? What's it? Anyway, I've done
Disparaging remarks.
I've done science fiction. I've done aircraft. I've done armour. I've done ships, real space, figures. See, I sit in the car every day. I don't want to model something that I sit in every day.
Well, you can model a car that you don't see every day, like a Maserati.
Yeah,
Maserati.
You know
like
what?
a Lambo.
If I was an astronaut, I probably wouldn't be interested in real space and want to model that.
Get the
either.
Tesla that got sent to space. See, that's your real space subject.
Oh, she's got you there.
Yes, he's there we go. There we go. Well, there you go. The gauntlet's now been dropped.
I'm looking for some wiggle room here. I'm not seeing
there's
much.
no wriggle room on that one. I reckon.
You're not as much of a generalist as you like to think you are, Dave.
Because now we've backed you into a corner, Dave. We want to see you build a Tesla.
The Tesla that Elon sent to space with the astronaut on the drive wheel. There is a red Tesla.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was a red one. Yeah. That's it, Dave.
Oh, he's very quiet now.
He's gone quiet. He's got no comeback. So
anyway, Brendan, thank you very much for that. I can't wait to see you at QMHE. And if you get a punch in the nose from me, don't look surprised. Thanks, mate. That's very
awesome.
Funny. Of course, if you want to send us an email, we love hearing from what you got to say. Even if you're having a crack at me, send your emails to onthebench64@gmail.com. All right, let's go straight into the wheel of Patreon Wheel of Fortune, and the prize this week is going to be one of our lovely, unique, and very hard to get challenge coins, OTB challenge coin.
The middle ones.
How many are left?
I gave one to Marissa today, so there's not too many more left. There's enough to probably do this for another Another couple of years before I have to get
really?
another, yeah.
Okay.
But so we'll just spin the wheel and see who the lucky winner is. And don't forget, if you are one of our Patreon supporters, you automatically go into this wheel, and the winner is Matt Williams.
Woohoo!
So Matt, I'll be reaching out to you and getting it organised to be shipped out to you. All right, let's have a very quick break before we have a chat with our good mate. No, we're going to talk to Pete first.
Oh, I'm going to talk to Pete first, yes.
Yeah, let's talk
about
to Pete.
ScaleACT.
Yes, we do.
Very cool.
Before we do, I've got another quick announcement. Coming up on the weekend of Saturday, August the 16th at Box Hill Town Hall is Victorious 25. It's Victoria's historical fantasy and sci-fi tabletop game show. Marissa, you're actually going to this, aren't you?
Yes, I'm doing a workshop with my business partner, John.
Victorious 25 is the ultimate showcase of tabletop miniature gaming in Victoria. Australia, yeah. Run by the gaming community in Melbourne, Victoria. In Melbourne, I should say. Victorious is full of participation and demonstration games and hobby activities to try. Meet game designers, miniature artists, and members from the local LARP. That's live action role playing, cosplay and historical reenactment communities. Hunt for a bargain at the bring and buy, and also the trade stands that are going to be there. And if you're interested in doing this sort of stuff, sign up for one of the tournaments, or indeed there's even a painting competition. Victorious is the perfect opportunity to delve deeper into the world of miniature gaming and find out what a wonderful hobby it is, and it's something for everyone.
Yep.
And unfortunately,
we won't be able to be there.
We won't be there because we'll be in Queensland. So as I said, Saturday the 16th of August at the Box Hill Town Hall. General public is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tournament attendees, 8:30 a.m. start, but arrive at 8 for registration. Admission cost, adults $10, concession $5, children under 16 are free. Tournaments are included in the show entry, $30, and Victory Arts, I don't know what that is, $15, including early access to a show figure. I know our club's going to be there, and they're going to have a table and actually going to be doing some demonstrations on model building,
very cool.
well as some examples of some stuff that we've built as well. So it should be a fantastic day. I'm really upset that this clashes with our Queensland trip, but nonetheless, we'll look at doing Victorious in 2026.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a quick break, and then we'll come back and have a chat to Peter Davis, the president of ScaleACT. Models Without Borders is proud to announce the launch of its first ever global online event, Virtual Model Exhibition 2025, or the shorthand version, VMX 25. VMX 25 invites scale modelers from around the world to showcase their work in a fully virtual format that reflects the hobby's growth and diversity. Entrants may enter models in any of the exhibition's 11 classes. Registration, which will cost $10, will be open from the 1st of August until the 15th, and each participant can enter up to 5 models. Builders can choose whether each model is evaluated, display only, or both. Evaluations will use MWB's skill-based system, which considers the modeler's goals, experience, and craftsmanship. The system is designed to support growth, celebrate creativity, and recognise achievement across all skill levels, without comparison or competition. VMX 25 winners will receive a unique gold, silver, or bronze awards, or a certificate of merit. VMX 25 will take place after registrations are complete, and for updates, please visit www.modelers, that's with 2 L's, modelers.org, and subscribe or follow Modelers Without Borders on social media. And now I'd like to welcome to the show a good friend of ours, Peter Davis, who is the president of ScaleACT. one of the largest modelling clubs in Australia. But the exciting thing we're talking about today is ScaleACT 2025. Peter, g'day. How you going, mate?
Good morning, boys, and good morning, Marissa.
How are you, mate?
Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Julian.
I forgot that I had to speak on this podcast.
Mate.
One job, mate. One job.
Yes. Scale 2025. We're so excited. Hashtag 1000. I've been pushing it ever since last year that I want everybody who's coming to bring at least 5 models to put in the competition, because I want to see you guys hit 1,000 models on the table for exhibition and judging. I bet your guys are ready to kill me over that.
Oh, I think they are. They're ready to. I think anything over 800, they're ready to flog you. So you might turn up in one piece, but you might leave in a few. But yeah, but yeah. That's all. As I said, all we're trying to do is like we do every year is just put on the best show we can and a great weekend for everyone that attends. So.
Which you certainly do, and it's certainly in our calendar every year. And anybody who's living in Australia, or indeed within a short plane flight of Australia, you should jump on and come across, because it has to be one of the best modelling shows in Australia. And I think what it is all the, not only the friendliness that you guys have at the actual show, where everybody sort of intermingles and talks and chats to each other, but the nightlife as well is absolutely off the charts.
Yes, it's been growing each year. Like I said last year, a few times last year, I think the pub we had 50 odd people, but having a beer and a feed and stuff afterwards. So it's really turning into a whole week of fun. And yeah, like I said, it's the vibe is really good the whole weekend during the show, and obviously after dark when we catch up with the pub and stuff afterwards. Yeah.
So what's happening this year for the show? You got any sort of keynote things that you want to let people know about?
We've got a few exciting announcements. We've got Ruben Gonzalez, the demonstration rep from a.k.a. coming, along with some of the a.k.a. staff, a.k.a. Interactive Paint.
Very good.
I think it's Hobbies Australia have just taken on their product as one of the main importers for Australia, so they're pretty keen, I think, to come down. They've heard lots about our event, from when I've been catching up with them at Malcolm in Malaysia for probably the last 6 to 8 years, so there's a bit of a friendship there as well, so that's probably helped. Same with, and the next, I guess, big one that people have probably seen on Facebook already is we've got probably one of the best 135th scale and probably one of the best figure painters in the world coming, Galvin Tan.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm very excited about that. Is he going to be actually doing a demonstration as well, while he's there?
Yes, we're not sure how that's going to work yet, so we'll have more details coming soon. But he'll definitely, he'll definitely be plenty of opportunity for the public to speak to him over the weekend. But we're just finalising the entertainment lineup essentially for the demonstrations and stuff to see how that looks and how that fits in with him over the weekend. So,
and you've got a fantastic lineup of traders attending as well again this year. We have already confirmed 21 traders coming this year. A couple of new ones, Black Ops models and Arms Corps models. Yep. For the Australian sort of armour builders and stuff, they'll enjoy those guys coming. And I know a couple of others are still waiting to hear back from the team. Obviously, with the show this big, we have a subcommittee that runs the event that have been working very hard to put all the administrative and a lot of the stuff in the background together for the weekend. And I know there's a couple sitting in the inbox there that need to be answered back to. So we should, there'll be well over 20 traders, I think, by the time we get to ScaleACT. Oh, sensational. And some of the traders you got there, you just don't see anywhere else in the country sometimes. So for them to come down, and I know there's a couple of other ones who are sitting at an in-tray as well, and they've got some great stuff that they'll be bringing up to sell as well.
Exactly.
Our good friend and sometime delinquent Lincoln's going to be there.
Yes, that's another big announcement. We do joke about him, but he's a world-renowned sci-fi modeler, having spent plenty of time in Japan. It does, we do question how much PR and how much damage it can do when we do invite him, but but we still do it. We still, through gritted teeth, invite him every year, and he enjoys coming. He's nearly the first person after the weekend to say, "When do I get the invitation to come back?" So, so as much as he plays up, we do put up with him, but he's a great bloke, and great modeler, and plenty of joking and banter. But he at the end of the day is a great bloke and very capable, very good, and obviously in that realm of sci-fi and Mac, whatever you call it. Sorry if I've offended anyone. He's seen very highly by those sort of people, and has been drawing a lot of them to our event. So he is a great bloke, great modeler, and deserves the credit and the shout out as well. As long as there's plenty of other fantastic modelers that'll be lined up again over the weekend. Another good friend of the show, Clayton Ockerby, his YouTube channel's gone gangbusters. So he'll be there. He'll be doing his thing again. We've got Mars will be jumping in at some point over the weekend. We all know what she can do with the Gundam stuff, and we've got Gary, the aircraft modeler again. He's probably one of the best aircraft models in Australia. So it's not just international sort of people coming, but we've still got people here doing demonstrations that are probably of international worthy as well. If they went overseas with their stuff, they'd be they'd be just as held, in just as high regard. So
100%. You don't have to go outside of Australia to see some world class models. We've got them right here in our own backyard. And
exactly, Herman Zhang from Sydney. He's known all throughout Asia as well. So
I mean, we've got even our own Julian, sort of masterclass.
Yeah, Julian with car models.
Stop. Yeah. Landed on the tick, aren't you?
And of course, we leave the best to last. You've got one of the world's top podcasters going to be there. OTB will be there as well.
Of course. Otherwise, we wouldn't be chatting today if you weren't turning up. So no. So it's going to be like last year, but hopefully it's the 25th anniversary. No of the event. So there's no stone being left unturned by me or the team to put on a 25th anniversary event that it deserves. I'm just trying to see the notes. They gave me a bunch of notes. They're going to flog me if I miss anything.
Well, how about I lead you into some of those notes that you got there? Let's talk about first the different categories you've got, because you've got 3 categories or 3 skill levels that you can enter into. Yes,
we do. So we have we've got, what do we call it? Intermediate,
rookie,
advanced,
standard, and master.
There we go. So we have those three categories again this year, broken into skill sets. So that went well last year. It allows, obviously, for more recognition, but it also, you have to meet a standard. So, we do have a few people going, is it just a painting comp now? No, it's not. You still have to meet a standard. So you still have to meet, a good building standard, good painting standard, good finishing presentation, to achieve gold gold in those categories. It's obviously, it is slated, in each of those 3 categories to allow for, the different skill sets though. So, obviously Masters is going to be a lot harder to get gold, silver, bronze than obviously rookies. So,
I'll just read from your website if you don't mind jumping in there, Pete, because
sure.
What you say here is that, the level of modelling standards are required to be awarded. A medal goes up with each level. So from rookie to standard to master, there's a higher standard required. And the standard required to achieve gold award at the master level must demonstrate the very highest expression of the art, showing perfect construction, flawless finish, and an overall presentation that really stands out and catches the eye. So whereas a judging team will be a little less stringent when examining entries at standard level, and even more generous again when assessing rookie entries. And I think this is a good point to mention that it's not first, second, third; it's gold, silver, bronze.
Correct, and we also though do recognise very good work with the best of for each category. So we've got, I think it's 12 categories, so the 10, 12 categories. There's the best car at the event, the best tank, the best aircraft, best boat, etc. Will have extra recognition along with best of show still, and people's choice. So there's plenty of people that are in there that like putting hard work into the models, there's plenty there for them to have a crack at. So.
And I just want to also point out the difference between a diorama and a vignette, as you guys have landed on it, and the show has said that a diorama should tell a story and portray activity, and the elements of a diorama should interact. So you can think of a diorama as a scene from a movie, whereas a vignette is more like a snapshot in time and is often intended to be viewed from a fixed point. You can think of a vignette as a photograph, and I think that's
a really well way of putting it.
I think it really clears up the smoke and fog between what a diorama and a vignette is.
Yeah, I think that took us about 12 months.
I bet it did.
We didn't spend the whole 12 months, but obviously we're living lives and working and stuff. But with the spare time of the subcommittee for the judging team. To kind of land on those final points, and it's like every event, every show, whatever. You're still not going to get 100% satisfaction from people, but from the feedback though from last year, we're definitely heading in the right direction.
100%, yeah.
That is the main thing. So
for people who are confused about what categories to enter, I'll just run through the differences between rookie, standard, and master, if you don't mind me doing that.
No, that'd be good.
So a rookie may not have been building for very long and is still learning the basics, or might be returning to the hobby after an extended break, or has never entered a competition previously. So that's the definition of a rookie.
Yep.
Standard, most entrants are in the standard group. So a standard level entrant has been building for a while and routinely produces work that they're happy with. A standard level entrant also demonstrates proficiency in fundamental modelling skills, and a standard entry entrant may use aftermarket upgrades to the basic kit. And master entrant is very experienced and comfortable with more complicated techniques. A master entrant should be comfortable with and regularly use aftermarket conversions or large upgrades, and a master entrant may routinely enter competitions and consistently places. But while you asked to self-assess as to which skill level you go into, of course, ScaleACT team reserve the right to overrule if required. So that's saying that no masters trying to slip into rookies, for example.
Exactly. Dropping themselves down for a challenge.
Yeah. Yes. Gundam builders, they come under a slightly separate category, do they not?
Yeah, it's a separate category.
We were originally going to look at utilising Emperor from which SMC used, and by doing that, unfortunately, we would have to have called the Gundam categories exactly the same as all the other categories: rookies, standard, and masters. However, we have been in our IT team and judges subcommittee have been working with a guy from Illawarra who's developed his own software.
Yep.
And we're going to be utilising that instead, which will allow us to clear some of that confusion that we had last year with the Gundam categories and call them whatever they need to be called, as per what Mars can explain better than what I can.
So Mars, over to you. What are the three categories?
So with Gundam, rookie, standard, and master can be a little bit misleading, because if you look at the rookie category here, it'll say people who's new to modeling, never entered a show before. But in the Gundam world especially, there are people who's been doing a lot of Gundam modeling for years, but they just don't paint it. Mm-hmm. So they don't really exactly fit rookie. So with Gundam competitions around the world, they have most international competitions have adopted a sort of like a 3-tier system. So the very first level is the straight build category or standard build. So a straight build is basically what Gundam is meant to be. You basically just take the kit out of the box, you cut it, you assemble it, and then you use the stickers. No painting, no aftermarket parts, no weathering, no diorama, nothing. And that's actually, even though it's sort of like, oh, really? You don't even paint the kits, you only use the stickers, you don't even use water slides. This is actually the most common and the most popular competition format for Gundam. And it's especially popular in Asian countries like Indonesia, where 80% of Gundam builders, they are just doing it for fun. And what they're doing is just how to improve their knob marks, how to sand it properly, maybe give a little bit of top coat. So it's sort of basic modeling. But you want to also have their own category, because in the past, Gundam categories in competition is just the one category. But if you're only a straight builder, you'll always lose to a repainter.
Yep.
And if you're a repainter, you'll always lose to the customizer. So given how wide the skill gap and the difference between, the people who just build for fun and people who build competitively, most scale modeling shows and or competitions separate it into three. So straight build is the first one. The second part is repaint, which is the next majority of builders. They just want to repaint their Gundam a different color. They don't really use aftermarket parts. They don't use resin. They don't make it into a diorama. They just like painting. And then, therefore, the next category is the repaint category. Means you use the kit out of the box, but then you just repaint the kit with no modifications, no kit bashing, and no extra parts. So that's also the next tier of most common Gundam builders. They're repainters. And then the last category is the custom category, and this is where all the high-level builders compete amongst each other. So you can do kit bashing, you can do aftermarket parts, you can do resin conversions, so long as you use the Bandai inner frame or have the inner frame component of the Gundam itself. And this is a very important distinction, because back in the day, before these three categories were made sort of the standard of Gundam competitions worldwide, people would submit full resin kits of a Gundam in a Gundam competition. Now, these full resin kits, they do not use any Bandai's inner frames. They're basically just a cast of a Gundam that's been blown up, 3 or 4 times the size. And it's a little bit unfair, because there is no Gundam element really in it. There is no Gundam parts. And all of these full resin kits are way more detailed than what you would get out of the box.
Yeah, because you get more detail out of resin.
Yeah, of course. So because of the nature of a full resin kit, now most resin kits are banned from a Gundam competition, but a resin conversion in which you still have to use the Bandai inner frame, you still have to use some of the plastic parts, are allowed in a custom category.
Right.
So if you're a Gundam builder and you want to join ScaleACT 25 for your first Gundam competition, we actually have a very generous category. Generous categories for that is to encourage more people to join. And it's so that the beginners into the hobby who only loves the straight build don't have to go against people with resin conversions. I know how it feels, because I have made a kid cry for entering my perfect grade because they only have one category. There's this kid coming in with his very neatly sanded panel line Gundam. And of course, the painted build wins, because of course. Yeah. And then the kid just said, "Oh, mine didn't win," and I felt like
terrible.
I'm the biggest twat. But it's also to encourage fairness in the little Gundam sphere as well. It is very different than traditional modeling.
Yeah.
Most of the traditional modeling, techniques and rubric and judging criteria might not work in a Gundam category. And it is gotten so popular these days and they have a new anime apparently that came out and bringing more new people with that too. So we want to make sure that people who are joining ScaleACT will have a good time.
And Gundam and Mecha is the largest sector of the modelling community, dollar for dollar.
Yeah.
So I mean the sales at hobby shops for Gundam and Mecha outstrips the traditional modelling, like military and stuff like that, by at least a factor, if not 4 to 1, sometimes 10 to 1.
Not surprised, because if you look at the Bandai Star Wars kits, they're already pre-painted and you can just assemble it. Whereas if you picture traditional modeling like aircraft, there's so much work that you need to do with the kit. You need to remove the seam lines. You need to at least paint it at the very minimum. So it brings in a new audience, especially after COVID, after the pandemic. Yeah. So many people got into scale modeling, and I think there is a survey, a good 95% of them actually started with Mecha or Gundam kits.
Yep. Oh, Pete. Well, sorry, I forgot you're still on the line, mate.
No, I'm still here. But like I said, so we a lot of our club members are good friends with the Illawarra Club, and a guy down there, very smart software developer, developed an online system for them. And some of our smart IT people have combined with him, and they've just, have been working together to make it a little bit better again, and that's what we're going with. It'll essentially allow us the customizations we need to allow what Marissa just said. Otherwise, with the system we were looking like having to use, we didn't have that ability to customize it because other shows use it. So we'd have to kind of fall in line a bit and change a little bit of what we do to use the software. When in this case, we're able to change some of it because it's still in the development phase for us. So and for the Illawarra show, the guys will be using it obviously again next year as well. So that's good sort of shows you the Australian modelling community. I think and the support we all give each other, which is fantastic as well. So a good shout out to Scott from the Illawarra Club that's been helping our team with that as well. I guess that kind of covers that. So that's going to clear the Gundam issue up, which hopefully will make it easier for Mars to sell and get some more of those people attending at ScaleACT this year, which will be fantastic.
Well, I just want to encourage everybody who hasn't been to the show before.
Oh, yes.
And if you haven't been to a model show, this is the perfect show for you to first dip your toe in the water. If you've only just come back to the hobby, or if you've never entered a competition before, you've got this beautiful rookie category there, and just come along. And we've had people before who've come up to us because I've said them to come along, and they have for their first time, and they had a great time.
Yeah,
they really enjoyed themselves. Yep. So I guess we should also say when it's actually being held and where it's being held, Pete.
Yeah, so again, it is early November, so we're looking at the weekend of the 8th and 9th of November at Thoroughbred Park, Canberra. So that is, Thoroughbred Park, Canberra. It's in Lynham, 8th and 9th of November. There's plenty of accommodation nearby in Braddon, sort of in the city area of Canberra, and plenty of places to eat and stuff too. You've got free parking on site, plenty of free parking, so don't stress about missing out on a car park. There's the light rail if you wish to, and there's a stop nearby, which is a couple hundred metres walk, which will take you from the sort of centre of town right past the venue. There's plenty, those want to bring the family and stuff, there's plenty in Canberra for them to do. There's information about that on our website. There's, Questacon, there's Parliament House, there's the War Memorial, there's the National Art Gallery, there's, numerous...
and the Dinosaur Museum.
Oh yeah, we can't forget the Dinosaur Museum, can we?
I've got to stop on our way up on Friday. This time we come up, I have to.
I've put my foot down
because each time we've driven past, and then it's just like a little 8-year-old boy sort of looking at the window crying as I drive past.
Yep.
So
can we go, Daddy?
We've got to stop at the Dinosaur Museum.
You guys haven't been to the Dinosaur Museum?
I went when they first opened.
He's not coming. He's not coming next year if he doesn't get the stopper.
Yes,
that's right. Yes. We've got to go past the Dinosaur Museum.
Don't forget there's the Reptile Museum too, and the aviary behind
and
it.
there's the aviary as well, and sort of stuff there.
And you got was it Cockington Green?
Cockington Green, it's all in that sort of same precinct. And while you drop your kid off at the Dinosaur Museum, Dave, there's a pub across the road too. That does a good feed as well, so you can always sit over there and leave him unsupervised in the Dinosaur Museum while you have
that's a bad thing to do.
I don't mind living unsupervised in the museum. It's the gift shop at the other end that I'd worry about.
Yeah. We got room in the car for this, Dave.
We do. The other thing I want to... because I've talked this show up to a whole heap of guys and sort of our local club members down here. So we've got about 8 of our club members are coming up this year.
Excellent.
They're really excited about that. Have you thought moving forward whether to sort of somehow sort of bring the club spirit into it some way?
As in the other clubs attending?
Yeah, I don't know, just have like maybe a table so they can sort of just show off their skills and what their interests are.
We have in the past, reached out and offered for people to put club displays on, and we do have some local ones like the, again, the Canberra Model Shipwrights and stuff like that. But I think just due to our locality and being one of the few hobby shows in Australia where most of our audience travels to us, that, we haven't had a lot of success with that. Like, we're always open to it. Like, if people want to want to grab a table and do that, we're more than happy. But we have done that over the last couple of years and kind of had limited success with it. So,
okay.
But it is definitely, it's always an option. So if you guys wanted to, it's more than easy to reach out to the ScaleACT team and get a table. That's not a problem.
Let me have a chat to the boys at the club at the next meeting then. We're seeing there's so many of us coming up, we might as well do it. It's not driving up too. It's not a huge sort of ask. Let's put an extra few sort of kits in the car or models in the car and just drag them along.
Most definitely, yeah. But they're getting a bunch of PR notes. If I miss anything, they're going to slap me. Being a good boss, I should probably cover it all off. I think we pretty much well have the most significant thing, I guess, is that we do need to mention is that the ACT Government Tourism are on board this year. So we need to thank those guys for helping promote and advertise our event. So thank you to the local government. They're on board. It looks like probably at least the tourism minister will be there at some point over the weekend to either open or close the show, which is pretty cool.
I'll put also just a bit more of a professional polish to that, and also mention the platinum sponsors of the show, and that's B&A Model World, the Hellenic Club, Hobbies Australia, Scale Model Supply, Southern Model Supply, Thoroughbred Park, and Toy World Canberra,
as well as Mars's Canberra Hobby Centre, and
which is not on the website yet.
And the military shop as well. We've picked those guys up. They're /BrandNet. They've gave us a big contribution this year. And Runway 13, if we did mention them. So we've got a few, and probably maybe one more coming. So, which is fantastic. So we're getting a lot of support. Which is great. Which obviously allows us to put on the event essentially, and keep prices down because prices do go up and they have been going up, but we're managing to keep them at a very affordable price for everybody by having these guys come on board and help out with this platinum sponsorship sort of stuff.
A great leading question. So how much does it cost to enter the show, and how much does it cost just to walk into the show?
So it is $5 per model this year. It has gone up a little bit. However, there's some work in the background. Every competitor will get like a competitor's entry card, like a little memento of attending the event, a plastic sort of ID card. And on that, we'll have a QR code so they can scan it to find out a bunch of information about the weekend, like timings and, where they need to be at certain times, like for a presentation or for a workshop or whatever. So that QR code leads to that. And then obviously the ability then with the increase of entries and stuff to allow for automation of software and which will should provide limited feedback this year as well, I think. I'm not going to promise that. And then if not, it will be next year. And then there will be some traders jumping on board to offer a competitor entry discounts. So that QR code will tell them and let them know which traders are providing those discounts so they can attend those stores, show their competitor's card and get a slight discount at that trader.
Fantastic initiative.
That's exactly. That's a great idea to get people to compete.
Yep. Fantastic initiative.
So a little bit of a souvenir. Everyone get a little bit of a souvenir. The other thing too for this year, as it's the 25th anniversary, there will be the gold, silver, bronze coins will actually be 25th anniversary stamped. There'll be sort of a special edition. So if you get one, if you're privileged enough to or good enough to, or your model's done well to win gold, silver, bronze, you'll have a very nice memento as it's a specially stamped 25th anniversary coin, and it's different from the previous years.
Lovely,
very cool.
Lovely.
That's a nice little cash. Platinum sponsors also mentioned those. Like I said, we'll just be probably nominating Pub Friday night shortly. We'll be hiring some space to tell everyone where to go and catch up for their wish. And same with Saturday night. Saturday night is the same thing. Yeah, so we'll do that same thing for Sunday, because we know a lot of people do stay Sunday night as well. So just so people that are either I know some people. We have had some people reach out and have been put off by coming because they live in remote areas and they're not sure if they know anyone and all this sort of stuff. So
Ian and I will be there, so we'll look after them.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's just we have a nominated area. They're not eating alone at night and all that sort of stuff.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so we do that, which we've had positive feedback about. So we'll make sure to do that. We've got some manufacturers attending. Qatari will be there. Magic Factory and a bunch of other sort of events as well. Will be there as well.
And of course, to keep up with all the things that are occurring, you have a website for people to go to?
Yes, exactly. Sorry. That little fella jump on.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway. We wrap up there. So if anyone's looking for information, obviously Facebook, Instagram, and ScaleACT at acds.asn.au if you wish to email the team.
No worries. Thanks very much, and looking forward to seeing you there in November.
Yep.
Hashtag 1000 ScaleACT 2025. And I think that's the most intelligent thing I've heard Pete just say.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was your little one. Sorry, mate.
Exactly. Yeah, buddy.
Good.
Right,
thanks very much for being
guys.
with us, mate.
Bye.
And now let's turn our attention to our special guest for this episode, Marissa. Again, thanks for coming along and joining us on the show. The reason I caught up with you at a recent show, and I was keen to have you back on because you mentioned something you're doing in your work life that is sort of crossing into your hobby. And I thought, oh yeah, that sounds interesting. And you're actually sort of sharing some pictures of what you're doing. So do you want to explain exactly to the audience what it is you've been doing? Because these are just sensational.
I'm blown away. Absolutely blown away.
So most of you know me as a Gundam specialist, doing commission for Gundam models, mecha girls, anything related to that. But ever since 2021, I've sort of been casually on the side taking on commissions from the Department of Agriculture, Forestry, and other biosecurity organizations around Australia for entomology models. So bug models, pests, and other things. It started in 2021 when when they first commissioned me to make prototypes of the giant African snail, which was an invasive species at that time that just entered Australia. So my business partner, Jonathan Cleaver from Initeration, he owns a 3D printing company and fabrication in Canberra. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, you're a scale modeler. I got a request from the Department of Agriculture to reprint their model of the giant African snail. Would you be up for it?" And I thought, I've never done animals before. I've also sent you another link for the Varroa mite as well. I'll talk about it later. But
sure.
The giant African snail, that is life size, by the way. It is massive, humongous snails, around yay big. So when they sent it to me, they just wanted one model done. And I thought, this is great. I can try shading the snails. I can try, you know how if you look at the body of the snail, it's very, very shiny. I actually use resin water, the one that you use for dioramas.
What a great idea.
Yeah, so it stays shiny.
It looks wet.
Forever, yes.
Yeah, it looks wet forever.
And when you touch it, it feels a bit wet. So just fantastic. So, and with the conches, I use kind of like the streaking effects that Lincoln showed for his Machine and Krieger.
Yep.
Right.
And some oil wash, and I use actually pearl paint for the yellow and the gold, so it shines. But then I'm semi-gloss coated, so you can see like the texturing as well. Got one done in 2021, so this was after COVID. The department loved it, and they ordered 8 more for their executives.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm like, oh, this is great. I could be gonna say, and it became a huge meme when I posted it on my Instagram because it's so different. Because I've always just been making Gundams, and then suddenly I have 8 snails. So memes came around, and people say I'm Gary sitting because Gary's the snail at SpongeBob. So it's like, oh, Mars is now Gary sitting, and then I didn't get any more work from them until 2023. In which I believe the story goes, the dev got in touch with John again and said, hey, is your painter still available? I mean, I'm like, yeah, I'm always available. They wanted then a different type of model, which is the brown marmorated stink bug and the copper beetle. So that's the, Julian have it on his, that's the BMSB. So the BMSB is a stink bug that is also a pest in Australia. But a lot of people got it mixed up with just a normal stink bug.
Right.
So when we had the discussion, the brown marmorated stink bug has different features that are not present in other stink bugs. So the brown marmorated section is pretty much the antennae. They have like white stripes on the antennae. And it's very specific to where these white stripes are. I think there's like always on the 3rd, 5th, or 7th quadrant or something like that. It's on the brief. And then the body is like a shield shape. And then there's a bit of like green and red speckle under the microscope. So this has obviously been blown up to sort of like palm size.
Yep.
But they gave us the actual sample of the bug from my reference, and it's tiny.
Yeah, less than a centimeter.
Tiny.
So did you work from photographs, or did you work from an actual real sort of dead bug that you had to put under a microscope?
Well, photographs and also specimens.
Right, okay.
So the BMSB and then the copper beetle is also a pest, so that's a copper beetle. Apparently it's found in shipping containers. And it's also a pest. And it's quite interesting because they have this pattern on their back that's basically like 4 lines.
It looks like an X, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like an X.
Yeah.
But and they're quite translucent and see-through. So that happened. I made 6 of each. And I remember being under the pump because the models were only finished being sculpted and printed 3 days before I had to go home to Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
So I have to finish 12 bugs in 3 days.
Jeez.
Oh, jeez.
So it was 10-hour painting days.
Yeah.
And the curing oven was working overtime. But I got it done. They were quite happy with it.
What paints did you use? Do you predominantly use a mix of everything, or?
Well, I primarily use a brand called Zerk. It's a Filipino brand, but to achieve the translucent effect is a lot of clear colors. And sometimes, like if they don't have the paint, I buy just Mr. Color.
Yeah.
I don't know, clear brown or something like that. But it's been so interesting working with these bugs because I have to ask them: do you want this for education display, or do you want it to be extremely realistic, or do you want me to put a little bit of flair to make it, sort of highlight the translucence of it? Do you want me to sort of make the green a little bit more green, so if you hold it up for education, people can tell? And most of the time they say a little bit of stylized is fine, but the color matching needs to be right.
Exactly. Yep.
So some of the colors have been exaggerated a little bit, just so if you hold it up in the air to show students or to show the public, they can see it from afar and it's not too muted.
Yep.
So after the BMSB and the copper beetle, I think it was actually Biosecurity Queensland that reached out to us again the next year, asking for the varroa mite and the red imported fire ant. And those were the two new bugs. So that's a fire ant. And then there's the varroa mite, which is basically, it's a bee mite. And apparently it's a big problem in Australia, also a pest, because these mites latches on to bees and it could halve their lifespan.
Oh, yes. I know ones. Yep.
So the fire ant that I'm looking at a
That
picture,
looks so cool.
And I'll post these to our Facebook page because it's sensational. That's about the same length as my forearm, the actual model. So that's at least what one...
Yeah, it's blown up,
2 foot, a 2 foot model?
No, it's 30 centimeters.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So real.
Incredible.
Yes. So these models, are they specifically made for what you're doing, or can the general public get their hands on them?
From
Because
my
honestly, I'd love to build one of those ants.
From my understanding, it is the company that produces commissioned it, and the copyright holder, I believe, is still Biosecurity. I don't think it's available. I don't know how the IP work. I just paint, so it doesn't really. And because I'm looking at this fire, and this is the old fire ant. I've made more fire ants recently, but it's funny because when you get these new bugs, you have to go to the meeting to be told the brief about fire ants. So I learned more about fire ants than I've done in like years. So apparently they're attracted to electricity.
Oh,
and it's
really?
a big problem in Queensland.
Yes.
Because they would literally eat the cables of traffic lights and plumbing systems and sort of kill themselves in the process. But they cause billions of damage to the Australian infrastructure. And no one seems to know that ants can do that. They're also, you can't kill it because they're so adaptable, and they can make a boat of ants.
Yes, that's right.
Make a boat of ants, and during the Queensland flooding, they've made themselves into a boat, and they've penetrated New South Wales. So now Victoria is sort of like, oh my gosh, we don't want fire ants going all the way down to Victoria. I actually don't know what's been done to stop this movement. Apart from more awareness, but it is a huge issue. And apparently recently it has been found that there are a lot of people in Australia who are into ant colonies. So they have like their own ant farm. And
It's a real subculture. And
Well, I know there's one guy on YouTube,
Yes.
Ants Canada.
Ants Canada,
I think he lives in the Philippines or somewhere.
Yeah, he's moved to Asia now, and he has his YouTube channel's about building these worlds.
Yeah, because currently he's got like 3 vivariums. He's got like a rainforest vivarium that hooks into a rainforest canopy vivarium, which then hooks into like a wetlands vivarium, which has got a big tank. And like these are massive. And like he's got ants in there. He's got spiders.
The whole point of it is ants.
He's got
right?
even micro squirrels.
He's got everything there.
He's got and it's just fascinating to watch. And when he does his ant specials, I'll watch every episode. So it just fascinates me.
But there is a dark side. I was told by one of the biosecurity people that sometimes when the ant colony overflows, there are some Muppets out there who doesn't know how to dispose of the colonies properly or to trim it down. So what they do is they just let the fire ants out in someone's backyard or in the park. And that's why we get all these infestations.
Yep.
So there's all these little irresponsible hobby communities in the ant community. They don't care. They have a whole vat of red imported fire ants, and because they breed so quickly and they multiply so quickly, and it's overflowed, and they just decide, you know what, I'm just gonna offload this into the open, and they didn't realize the damage that it's causing Australia.
Yep.
And this is still an issue to this day. And Queensland in particular, I believe, is the state that's most hit by this.
Well, they've let the genie out of the bottle.
And they've got an eradication program in place, but as you said, it's like, trying to stop the cane toads.
Trying to stop the tide, mate.
Yeah, you got better luck doing part in the water.
But getting back to the modelling, these...
Have you looking at your work here, and you're a celebrated sort of modeler when it comes to within the Gundam community, world renowned. In fact, you're even on. I don't mean to mention this, both you and Julian are international judges on the Models Without Borders virtual model exhibition this year, which is another sort of feather in your cap and everything. Have you ever thought of turning your attention to maybe? Don't you think she could do an awesome dinosaur?
Oh yeah,
you could, because you're the way you've captured these insects, and I just can't wait to share these with everybody else online.
Oh, there's going to get a huge reaction when people see these.
You could do a fantastic dinosaur. You could. Geez, is there anything you can't do?
I'm actually being commissioned by the Queen Victoria Museum in Tasmania.
Yeah.
For their bugs exhibition later on in the year. I don't know when the exhibition is going to open, but I'll be doing four pieces for them. There's a king crab, life-size king crab, so that's 60 centimeters. 2 stack beetles that are 40 centimeters.
Is that in that?
It's not. I haven't made it yet.
Oh, okay,
I haven't made it yet.
right,
It's
right,
in the
right.
future.
Yeah.
And then there's so two stack beetles, 1 king crab, and 1, I think, a jumping spider.
Oh, cool.
I
Love
think-
jumping spiders.
And then I will be doing like a Chinese green mussel clam or something like that. I don't know. It's in the brief somewhere. But I'm moving more and more away from Gundam. I'm now doing more of these animals.
Etymology, buds.
So okay, Oriental fruit fly,
Yep.
an Asian black spine toad, an Asian green mussel, 1 clean and 1 with barnacles, and then a freshwater gold clam.
Wow.
So this year I'll be
It's
doing
busy.
more bugs than
anything else.
than Gunpla. That's for sure. So I don't know. I've sort of talked to my followers because I have Gunpla commissions sort of backed up at the moment because I have to make room for this, and I'm thinking, is this the end of my mecha career? I'm now becoming a bug modeler.
No.
It's a great side hustle.
Absolutely,
I'm
yeah.
going to say it's a great side hustle.
No, really appreciate you sharing this with us. So, where can people go to have a look at some of the stuff you've done?
So I know that the deaf sometimes have their own open days.
Right.
I've seen my models out in the wild. Someone took, I don't know, it's like those career expos, like, hey, come work for the deaf. And
Yep.
I've seen my mite and my snails also being shown off.
Yep.
With the Queen Victoria Museum in Tassie, they will have a bugs exhibition. It will be part of their new museum wing, I think.
Okay.
So they'll have like a whole section of just bugs.
So your
entomology.
stuff's going to be in a museum.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
That's a good feather to have in your cap.
So that's
Because
there-
that's going to be there for hundreds of years, hopefully.
well, hopefully my paint job lasts that long. But they say the due date is October.
Right.
So I think they want to open the exhibition in October, in which I will also go and check it out myself
Oh, you
because
have to,
it's so cool. You have your work done there. But then there's other entomology organizations I've worked to. I think it's more for their internal, sort of like internal education purposes. But I know with the deaf, I've seen the snails in the wild. I've seen the BMSB in the wild. So you will probably see it if you see a deaf booth somewhere.
I didn't even know we had the giant African snails in Australia.
No.
I didn't realise it was an issue for us.
I think it's one of the lesser issues. Like, it exists, but it's not as rampant right now. I think the big topic is the fire ant.
Fire ants, yeah. And
it's
also
everywhere.
the mite on the bees.
The
as
mite,
well.
the varroa mite,
Varroa
yeah.
mite, yep. Can people go online and have a look? Do you share this with your through your
It's
media?
on Instagram. It's
Okay.
on my Instagram highlights, and people always love seeing the work in progress for these bugs because it's very, very, trust the process. Trust the
Yeah.
process, because every time I post the work in progress for these bugs, and people just see a splotch of clear orange on the abdomen for the BMSB.
Yeah.
They're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, trust the process." And then when you layer it, it blends really nicely, like a skin color, like a skin tone. And I've actually used that technique now for Gundam as well, because it's so different, and you get to try all these new things that you wouldn't otherwise
Yeah.
on a smaller scale Gundam, because
Yep.
these oversized bugs are so big. You have so much time to experiment, and you have so much space.
Yeah.
So if you make a mistake, you can kind of go over it. It's not so much the case with Gunpla.
Yes, yes.
I have to say, it has made me do my glosses a lot better with these bugs, because you have to, especially the BMSB, the wings that's tucked in, that is gloss layered with clear colors.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've actually, this is actually the older BMSB. In my newer BMSB, I have made sure that there's actually texture. So it's like wings folding on top of each other, just by spraying air into the gloss coat as it's drying. So it's sort of like creates a ridge.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I have done that in my previous BMSB, and people's gone crazy. It's like it's real wings.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, that's a
So yeah, just blowing
Right.
the air over the gloss coat as it dries. So it's like you're
Yeah,
creating
pushing
like
it.
you're
You're
pushing it
yeah.
on the
Yeah,
edge.
yeah.
So that see,
Yeah, it gives
I
it
would never.
a much sharper edge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just things that I would never have otherwise done in my
Or thought of, yeah.
normal modeling that I can do here.
Yeah. And as you said, you can cross pollinate your skills.
Cross pollinators, I like that. I would love to make a bee.
Oh yeah.
So if people want to actually see your work, you mentioned you're on social media. So what's your social media handle so people can find you on
It's just
Instagram?
Winzfactor on Instagram, so it's WINZ Factor. Don't ask me why I got that name. It's like edgy teenager, and I thought it's cool, and I just never bothered changing it. But all the works in progress on the bugs and everything else I've done is on the little highlight circles, and you can take a look. It's all the painting process, masking process. You can also look at the reels because that's where I post longer masking, unmasking things. And some people find it helpful because sometimes they don't know which part to mask first and which one to remove first. And but yeah, it's just going to be, I think, just 90% bugs and 10% mecha for me this year.
Well,
I would love to make dinosaurs though.
I reckon you'd be a deft hand.
My wedding was a dinosaur themed wedding.
Was it really?
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I got 2 dinosaur figures on top of my wedding cake.
Oh wow,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, Ian's a dinosaur nut amongst us here, so he would have loved that.
But I reckon you do a great job on one of those prehistoric salamanders.
Yeah.
Because you get that really glossy, because you'd be able to use that resin again, and some of the colours and that, and the shapes, like the shapes of the heads of some of those ancient salamanders are just freaking insane, and they were huge.
Yeah, because for the snails, I did gloss coat it at first, but then I thought, it needs something a little bit more
Wetter.
Yeah, more
Wetter.
disgusting.
Yeah, more slimy.
More slimy.
Yeah.
So then,
and they do look slimy.
yes. So it is not just gloss; it actually looks wet.
Yeah.
So then that's what I thought. Oh, I do have this spare resin water. Let me try, and it just gave me exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
And I thought
Bingo,
this is
there you go.
yeah,
There you go.
That's amazing.
yeah.
All right, well, let's bring this home. It's going to be a long episode.
Good.
It's been awesome having you on the show, Marissa.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
Always great
hope you
to have
enjoyed
you on.
breakfast this morning.
Yeah, it's great.
See, there you go.
Yeah, free continental breakfast.
Yeah. Well, it's more than continental because... No, continental is just you get toast and cereal. This is full-on breakfast.
Yep.
Well, it's
Okay.
closer to like a British breakfast, right? English breakfast.
Yeah, except I do the bacon better.
Right.
It's the same. And the baked beans come out perfect. Anyway, thanks for being on the show.
Yes.
Let's bring this home. So, Ian,
Adios, everyone.
Julian,
Yes, yeah.
See you later.
and that's it from us. Next show, it's going to be really, really exciting. We're going to be having a discussion on aircraft modelling in flight. And we're getting a couple of guys on who are big proponents of this. So it should be a really interesting
be a
and
good
exciting
episode.
discussion.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Oh, looking
I
forward to
can't
it.
wait. So for all you guys out there who build aircraft, this should be a fantastic
Yep.
episode. So come and see us in a fortnight. All right, that's it. Catch us later.